Hello, everybody, and welcome to another week of Valpo Basketball Preview. Todd Ickow, joined as always by head coach Bryce Drew, and all smiles for the Crusaders right now. They've won 5 out of their last 6, and Bryce, when you looked at the schedule to begin the year, you probably said that, hey, maybe the toughest conference stretch would be the end of January. You had 4 out of 6 road games. You had to play at Cleveland State, at Youngstown State, home game against Green Bay. You guys have won 5 out of those 6 games. Obviously, playing well right now.
Well, it's definitely more fun to win than it is to lose. And, as we look through the schedule, we figure every game is going to be tough, home or away. And, our goal as a team is make sure we're prepared, make sure that we're ready for each game, we're ready to give 100%. And I was really proud of the guys. We did travel a lot. We had Green Bay at home, which is the league leader. And I felt the guys were ready to compete, for most of those games.
In this stretch, you've won 3 out of 4 of the road games. And now overall, your record in road conference games as head coach is 16-6, which is really amazing when you consider that road teams only win about 30% of conference games. How have you had such great success on the road?
Very blessed. Very good players. I think we've shot the ball well on the road, which sometimes is very hard to do in other gyms. And we just had some great individual performances. Last year, Ryan Brokoff had just some great individual performances to help us win road games. This year, Levante Doherty just has had some great individual performances to help us win some of those games.
And Levante obviously playing the best basketball maybe a Crusader has played in a long, long time right now. You'd have to say his month of January was unbelievable. And I think 5 out of the last 6 games with 20 plus, and 4 of those games 26 or more. What has happened?
I think at the end of last season, he really was preparing himself to be the leader of our team, to be in the best shape of his life coming into the season. And so he had as good as off season as any player we've ever had here. And I think, when our team started to struggle in some of those games, I think he put even more on his shoulders, that he had to do more. And, he's played at a high level. Like you said, I can't remember in our recent history, one player, that's just carried us like that with the point total. We have 3-4 guys in double figures, and we had one guy last game and won, which is very uncharacteristic.
We had mentioned 20 points 5 out of the last 6 games. It's been 9 years since a Valpo player did that. We looked it up. Dan Oplin, the end of the 2004-2005 season, had 20 plus in 5 out of 6 games. But not only is he doing it offensively, but his defense has been great. And again, he had the tough assignment on Barlow on Saturday afternoon and really held him in check.
He's really taken great pride in guarding their players, best player. And I think it starts in practice. He pushes our guys to go harder in practice. And like we've talked to him, if you're going to be the leader of the team, you have to lead by example too. And so he knows that his actions are going to be evaluated by his teammates. And he wants to make sure that when he gets on them, that they're seeing him do the things that he's trying to get them to do.
Well-deserved named Conference Player of the Week Monday morning. The word came out. Probably the easiest decision the conference had this year to name Player of the Week with the incredible week he had, 59 points in 2 ball games. Now let's look at this week. 2 home games, which is always nice, and now through the second slate of the conference, 2 teams you're familiar with. You start with Oakland. Everybody talks about Travis Bader. But the guy who's been their best player, I think, in conference is their freshman point guard, Felder.
He's a very highly recruited player out of high school, known as a scorer, known as just a really good guard when he went there. I think beginning of the year he didn't shoot as well as what he's doing now, and that's with a lot of freshmen. Just take some time, and he's definitely not playing like a freshman now. He's making shots, he's taking care of the ball, he's getting to the basket very often in games, and so he's playing also at a very high level, especially for a freshman.
Obviously, you feel like maybe you owe them one. You're up double digits at halftime at the arena, and you come out one of the more disappointing losses of the year. A lot of times that second time around after a game like that, the team has a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and you've got a couple guys that have that kind of characteristic with them. Probably came out of that game a little upset with what happened a month ago.
Well, first I think obviously Detroit, we got them on Friday, so we're really planning for that game, and we'll prep for Oakland after the Detroit game. But Detroit, there's been a rivalry there, so I'm sure both teams were really fired up to take the floor. Against Oakland, if you go, they hit Mondi and Bader hit 9 out of 14 threes against us. The next game they were 0 for 14. And so, a lot is we got to get there and contest, and hopefully they're not making some of those tough shots that they made the first time against us.
Let's touch on Detroit. You're right. We should probably do that. Juwan Howard Jr. They had the big game against you guys, and he is really in his second year at Detroit has become a different player.
Last year they had a lot of veterans on the team. A couple guys that are making money playing now. A few guys actually making money playing now, and now I think he knows it's his time that he's going to be the first option and get the ball. And he and Breezema are having excellent seasons. They're scoring the ball well and doing a lot of things that last year they didn't have to do, but they're doing them now for their team.
So important, obviously, to keep up the wins. Sitting in second place, obviously, very important in the Horizon League, as we've touched on so many times. To finish at least in the top two and get the double bye, can't afford any slip-ups at home.
No, there's a lot of teams they're really tight in the races, and it's definitely important to try to protect your home court. So, the great thing is we've got a few days to prepare this week for Detroit and get ready, and hopefully some of the guys who are banged up can get healthy and we can have some good practices.
Good luck this week.
Thanks, Todd.
The head coach, Bryce Drew, and we'll talk to you next week on Valpo Basketball Preview.